I would like to share with you the act of remembrance. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will
remember them. Thank you.
Jacques de Winter served with the Queen's Own Rifle, been very helpful in organizing this parliamentary event. He has traveled from Guelph, Ontario to be with us today, and we would thank you, Jacques, for doing that. Now, we have fulfilled our duty to the dead. Now, as Veterans United, we will fulfill our duty to the living. My name is Michael Blaze. I served with the Royal Canadian Regiment in Canada, Germany, and Cyprus. On August 17th, 2010, I would become a reluctant veterans advocate after watching Veterans Ombudsman Pat Stogran's televised press conference. Through this advocacy, the Canadian Veterans National Day of Protest was born. Today, 11 weeks later, veterans of the Canadian Armed Forces, the RCMP, and various police services have rallied to the call for justice, and events are or will be taking place from Newfoundland to Vancouver Island. Veterans are united, perhaps as never before in modern history. We are united by a noble quest to speak for those for whom we have passed the torch, our veterans and the many families that have been subject to hardship, unnecessary hardship imposed upon them through the gross inadequacies of the new Veterans Charter. The 11th hour is sacred to Canadians and our military traditions. It is a symbol of the end of the horrific consequences of war and the beginning of a new era, one of peace. This morning, as the 11th morning hour graces our proud land's many time zones, veterans have and will assemble with great dignity at MP's offices in Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, and British Columbia. Larger rallies are being held in St. John's, Newfoundland, Halifax, Nova Scotia, London, Ontario, and on a national level, here on Parliament Hill. This is a remarkable feat, considering the limited time frame, and I would thank everybody who has answered the call today and express my profound gratitude for your support on so many levels. Many other Canadians have chosen to demonstrate their support for our troops and veterans for this most noble cause by telephoning, writing letters, or emailing their parliamentarians. And I would heartily encourage you to do this between now and Remembrance Day. Our message is the same. On this day, the first Canadian Veterans National Day of Protest, veterans of Canada are united by a common objective and a profoundly honorable duty to those who currently serve and to the generations of patriots who have been killed, wounded, or injured during the course of their service to Canada. Today it matters not which branch of the Canadian Forces you or I have served. It matters not which rank we attained, what missions we have participated in, or which part of the globe we have served. On this day, during the 11th hour, November 6, 2010, we are united, kindred with spirit and message, patriots who have not forgotten our responsibilities to this great nation, to those who serve yet cannot speak, and to the thousands of veterans adversely affected by the new Veterans Charter. Today is a remarkable day, one born of great frustration during these past 2 years. Veterans watched as various veterans advocates, organizations, the Royal Canadian Legion, and Prime Minister Harper's personally appointed Veterans Ombudsman, Colonel Pat Stogran, champion changes to the new Veterans Charter. Their words would fall on ears that cannot hear. And even as Canada's sons and daughters were and are being repatriated to Canada with terrible mental and physical wounds, as the names of the valiant are added to our regimental and national rolls of honor, we still wait for substantial action. Lest we forget indeed. As patriots, our duty is clear. As Canadian veterans, the men and women who serve this nation with distinction and honor, it is our duty to seek only one thing from our government, from those who would send us Canada's most sacred treasure to war on this nation's behalf. We seek justice. We seek justice for our troops who are not being accorded the same dignity, respect, and honor as Canadians who fought at Dieppe, who prevailed at Ortona, who landed on Juno Beach, who liberated Holland and ended the barbarous tyranny of Adolf Hitler. Our veterans today are no different than those who rallied to arms in Korea, who would fight heroically at Kapion, Chai-Li, Hill 355, Hill 187. Our veterans bleed the same as the veterans of the pre-New Veterans Charter. Our Afghan war veterans today suffer the same harsh physical consequences of combat that the veterans of the pre-New Veterans Charter suffered. Is it not fair, I would ask you, reflective of the true Canadian values, for us as veterans to insist that those who have followed behind us have the same level of dignified financial security, quality of life, for life, as veterans did to the New Veterans Charter? Hear, hear. We seek justice for the widows and the families of the fallen through the repeal of all unwarranted taxes on service pensions related to those valiant Canadians who have been killed in action on Canada's behalf. We seek justice for the 6,300 veterans of the peacekeeping area, valiant Canadians who served across the globe, who have borne testimony to the horror of genocide, civil war, profound hatred, racism, death, and destruction. We seek an end of the system clawback on their Veterans Affairs pensions. Pensions that reflect a unique, very special bond between soldier and state. An award that is awarded for pain and suffering, not income replacement. We seek justice from the reduction of RCMP officers, Coast Guardsmen, and veteran service and CP disability pensions when these brave Canadians reach the age of 65. We seek justice for all generations of veterans who were affected by the exposure to Agent Orange or a variety of chemical agents at CFB Gagetown, New Brunswick, and CFB Suffield, Alberta. We seek justice for veterans who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder through an expanded, comprehensive PTSD program possessive of sufficient nationwide resources to assist the many veterans and their families of all generations of war who suffer from this crippling disorder. We seek justice for those who have advocated on veterans' behalf, and as a consequence, had their private VAC medical and financial files compromised hundreds of times by departmental bureaucrats and members of the government that we, the people of Canada, elected. These actions were, as Prime Minister Harper rightly declared at the time, unacceptable. Unacceptable it may be, Mr. Prime Minister, but it is also illegal. Accordingly, we seek justice in the form of an RCMP investigation into those who have violated the sacred integrity of a disabled veterans confidentially, and a royal commission to ensure the bond of trust, the sacred covenant between soldier, veteran, Veterans Affairs Canada, and the government to which we serve is restored. Our wounded, our injured veterans deserve dignified service, and the financial security they require in a timely manner, bereft of repeated appeals and delays. We seek justice. No more, no less.
Justice. No less.
Permit me to introduce our guests, veterans I have invited to speak today for their advocacy on behalf of veterans, and now perhaps even more importantly, for those who cannot speak for themselves. Canadians who currently serve Her Majesty's pleasure with the Canadian Forces. Dave Desjardins served with the Royal Canadian Horse Artillery. During his service, deployed to Afghanistan, Honduras, and Bosnia twice. Perry Gray served with military intelligence and deployed to Germany and former Yugoslavia, as well as NATO and United Nations missions abroad. Eric Ribier is an RCMP veteran who has served in Cyprus with the armed forces and then later in former Yugoslavia as a veteran of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. He will be speaking to you later, and I would have you heed his words. For as veterans who serve in the military, veterans who serve in the RCMP and local law enforcement are also not being treated with the care and dignity that they deserve.
Hey!
Many of you know Sean Brouillet, who served in the Canadian Armed Forces or Air Force as an intelligence officer and deployed during the First Gulf War. We've had a special come in, Pauline Nemchik, there she is, who came to us to ask to speak today on behalf of a civilian side. So we would like her to do that. Okay, so off we go with the speeches, and we will start with Perry Gray. I'm sorry.